It's the most exciting NFL draft in recent memory, and we're a little over a week away now. We already know Tim Tebow jerseys are being sold everywhere, but are we going to see Marcus Mariota or Sam Bradford's uniform in stores after next Thursday? What do you guys think? Mike Owens is here. I'm Adrian Fedke. We're going to break down the NFL draft today, and I can't wait. Mike, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing good here. I'm getting ready for this draft. I'm just ready for it to be over. I mean, we've had months of speculation now about Mariota. I mean, the guy has been talked about in and out, and now we know that Mariota will not even be attending the draft, which is going to be held in Chicago this year. He's going to be in Hawaii, He's going to be celebrating in his bathing suit probably while he's in the pool, maybe drinking a nice smoothie, especially if the Eagles somehow maneuver a way to get up there and pick him. But, I'm just ready for it to be over after, Tebow coming in here. He's kind of taking some of the attention away from Mariota, but the Mariota talk is going to pick up again here as the draft nears.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I don't know if the pretzel factory is going to make a Super Mariota pretzel or not.
Well, they had to make a Tebow pretzel. I mean, that was just given. Now, if Mariota gets here, well, he'll definitely have a pretzel. And he'll have a lot more than a pretzel because it'll be one of the most, talked about guys in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, let's dig right into it. Everyone wants to know about Mariota. That's what everyone wants to talk about the last couple months, all that. So my question for you, what are the chances, what are the odds that Mariota comes to Philadelphia? Is this trade really going to happen?
Well, with Chip Kelly at the helm, anything is possible. I mean, it's been a crazy offseason. When you talk about a guy who brings in Tim Tebow, well, anything is possible. So you really have to say that it's 50-50 at this point. I mean, for them to go all the way up to number one or number two, that's going to be very tough to do. The chances of that happening are very slim. But if you were to drop a little bit and get to maybe number 5 or number 6, then the chances increase.
Yeah, so which team are you thinking that a potential trade partner?
Well, it would probably be the Jets. I think if you would, get to the Jets, I think that they're a team that would be, looking to take Mariota, obviously, with their situation at quarterback. I don't think that they're really too satisfied with Geno Smith, so I think that they would be looking at a guy like Mariota. But if he would even fall past that and say he gets past 10 and gets to somewhere where the Browns have 2 first-round picks this year. Obviously, the Browns were a team that was mentioned to be possibly interested in Bradford, so that would be another trading partner for the Eagles.
Yeah, unfortunately about the Browns now is, reportedly they're kind of out of the Bradford sweepstakes because Bradford's reluctance to sign an extension. And you know what, to be honest with you, if I'm Bradford, what? Why would you not want to sign an extension with the Browns? Okay, look. All right, so say you go to Cleveland, right? You shouldn't be getting an extension from anybody. The way your injury history's been, I don't know why he's not taking the money and run with it. Why he wouldn't want to go to Cleveland and get that money. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I don't get that either. I mean, this is a guy that really has to, come in and he has to prove himself this year. Obviously, with consecutive seasons having knee surgery. He can't be asking for any kind of extensions. So he's going to have to come in this year wherever he plays and, prove that he can, play again and prove that he didn't have that supporting cast in St. Louis.
Yeah, because if you look at his, the QBR rating on ESPN, he's the 5th rated passer since 2010. So he hasn't done it. The production hasn't been there on the field. Now, that number can be slighted because he has had no weapons in St. Louis. But, it's interesting that he's taking this mindset of, oh, I don't want to sign an extension with Cleveland. Dude, I don't care if it's like, you're playing for the Philadelphia Passion of the Lingerie League. You take that extension, man. I don't know what you're thinking, man.
Yeah, especially with his injuries, you would think that he would want to take, the security there and get that extension. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Bradford and if he is involved in a trade. There have been speculation over the past few weeks because it's been very tough to find a Bradford jersey if you go to the Eagles' actual pro shop at the stadium. Apparently, you can't find one there. So obviously, the marketing team at the Eagles pro shop is not too confident that Bradford is going to be here after the draft. And you really can't blame them with the way that Chip Kelly has been operating. So I don't think you can really look into that too much. I think that is honestly just really a business decision on the part of the marketing team of the Eagles Pro Shop.
Yeah, obviously, because I've said this in a prior video, you're not going to buy like a bunch of Bradford jerseys in bulk to sell if you don't know if he's going to be on the team. A week, it's over a week away now, so you might as well just wait. It makes no sense to buy all those jerseys. The other thing I wanted to ask you, if they do trade, say, because it seems like the Jets are the team to watch out for right now. What do you think the Eagles would have to give up to get Mariota?
Yeah, hopefully it's not too much because I really don't want to see the Eagles start giving away, multiple first-round draft picks here. And obviously, to prevent from giving away multiple draft picks, you would have to get a player involved in this situation. Now, there's reports, that Evan Mathis and Michael Kendricks haven't showed up to the off-season voluntary workouts. Now, those are two guys that, would possibly, be involved in a, trade in the draft. It's rare that you really see players get involved in a trade during the draft, but those are two guys to keep an eye on. But, yeah, really, if they wanted to get up, that high to number 6 area, they're probably looking at giving up, at least 2 first-round picks and probably have to give up 3.
Yeah, I'm thinking if it really depends on how much the Jets like Bradford, but I'm hoping it's going to be, just Bradford, a first-round pick this year, first-round pick next year, and maybe you throw in like a late-round pick either this year or next. And I think that should be enough. They're not, if they're trading up to number 6, I think that should be okay. If say you're going to number 2, then all of a sudden you got to give up the farm. But you're not moving up to number 2. You're only moving to number 6. So I think what I just proposed, I think they'll be okay. But if there is a desperation on the Eagles' part, then unfortunately it might be your route and be multiple picks.
Yeah, well, that's going to be the problem here is these other teams around the league. I mean, this is no secret that Chip Kelly wants to go after Mariota. So if the Eagles wanted to really get up to that number 1 or number 2 spot, I mean, the Bucs and the Titans would just absolutely destroy the Eagles for years in the draft. I mean, they would literally rob them of all their picks. And that's why it's really unrealistic for the Eagles to get up that high because the Eagles just aren't going to give up that many picks for one guy, even though it's Chip Kelly and Mariota. So, realistically, the Eagles have to hope that he drops to the Jets. And really the ideal situation would be for Mariota to really drop out of the top 10. And then the Eagles really got a shot at him.
Yeah. Okay, all right. That's the Mariota talk. There's really not much to talk about other than that. I mean, we've been talking about it for weeks and weeks and weeks now. So I think everyone kind of knows, what might have to happen to get him. So let's say the Eagles don't get him. Let's say he lands with another team. Now all of a sudden, you have the 20th pick in the draft. What are the Eagles going to do with it?
Well, they definitely need to go out and get a wide receiver now with Macklin signing with the Chiefs during free agency. So wide receiver is a big need, and the Eagles are lucky because there's many weapons at wide receiver in this draft. So they could even get away with drafting a very talented wide receiver in the second round. So if they can afford to get a wide receiver in the second round, then another route that they could look at is maybe drafting an offensive lineman if they feel that they need someone there with losing Hairmans. Or I'll let you talk about this, but you pointed out an option where maybe the Eagles would possibly end up moving back a little bit and getting Byron Jones.
Yeah, there's a receiver out there right now that if they don't get at number 20, because I think he might go before then. His name's Rashad Perriman. We'll get into him a little bit, later. But my scenario is, it seems like the Eagles are infatuated with Byron Jones, the cornerback / safety from UConn, and Nelson Aguilar, receiver from USC. So my scenario is, obviously last year you had the Eagles trade back in the first round. They go from 22nd to 26th. They got a third-round pick in return. So my scenario is you trade back in the first round, because at number 20, I think it's a little bit too high to take Byron Jones. So you can trade back, get Byron Jones then, you pick up an extra draft pick, say a third-round pick, and then in the second round, they'll do again what they did last year. They'll trade up into the second round. You could use that third-round pick that you just acquired, trade up, you snag Aguilar. So all of a sudden you got Jones and you got Aguilar on your team, and that fills two holes.
Yeah, no, and obviously with this situation, the Eagles would be moving Ed Jones to the safety position. So they would do that there, and they would fill their big need at safety opposite Malcolm Jenkins. And then obviously fill the role at wide receiver there. So because there's really not that many safeties in this draft. I mean, really you have Landon Collins, and he honestly doesn't even really fit the Eagles scheme, so I don't even think the Eagles would be going after him. But besides him, there's really not many true safeties in the draft, so that's why the Byron Jones thing would be an option.
Yeah, and as a cornerback, Jones really doesn't fit the scheme. He's not like a great man corner, not a great press corner. He's a zone corner. He uses his athleticism to play zone. And that's why when I saw them, bringing him in for visits, I immediately thought safety. He played safety his first 2 years at UConn, and then he kind of, he moved over to corner out of necessity because that's a bad football team. So he played cornerback for them. But at the pro level for the Eagles, I think he's going to be a safety. And, you referenced this. It is a very, very poor safety class. Besides Landon Collins, there's not anything out there. So Byron Jones would really be the number 2 safety on the big board, if he were a safety heading into the draft. So I like the idea of taking him. You trade up, you get Aguilar in the second round, and that would be my scenario. And, it's unfortunate because Aguilar has been a sleeper of mine for months, and he's rising up the charts, and it's terrible because when I watch him play, you want to talk about losing Jeremy Macklin. Well, he's a Macklin clone. The way he runs routes, his hands are fantastic, and he would be a perfect fit for Chip Kelly.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And if they can't get a guy like Aguilar, then other guys that look at, you talked about Perriman, and another guy would be Jalen Strong from Arizona State. Those are the 3 guys that I think the Eagles would really be targeting with where they're going to end up picking, because the top 3 wide receivers in this draft are going to go before the Eagles even get a shot. And Amari Cooper, Kevin White, and Devontae Parker Unfortunately, Devontae Parker would be a nice fit with Eagles, but he's not going to be there when the Eagles, select at number 20. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. You were talking about Byron Jones, and if they're not able to get him, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up taking another cornerback that they feel like they can convert into a safety, because going into this draft, safety is the biggest position of need, and they gotta find someone somewhere. So even if he's not a true safety, they're gonna have to convert someone, because really, all then we're putting all our eggs in the Earl Wolf basket.
That's not a basket we want to put our eggs in. No Easter eggs, none of that. We don't want to put our eggs into his basket. Let's talk about some more wideouts, because Perriman, to me, he's a guy. It's funny because he's a guy I originally didn't like. Because I'm watching this guy, I'm like, all right, I forget which game it was, but he had a bad game, and it took a while for him to for me to kind of see it. Okay, I see it now. But with him, he had a lot of drops. He's a shaky route runner. He's kind of a raw specimen a little bit. He's going to need a lot of coaching, but the raw talent, the athleticism. Oh my God! I mean, you look at what he ran at his pro day. Whatever report you want to see, it was either between like a 4.2, 4.26. For a guy that's 6'2", 6'3", that is absolutely ridiculous. So the way I'm viewing him, you know that Kelly, likes to go vertically up the field. And so you got him doing that. And then the other thing I see, those little crossing routes that he runs over the middle of the field, he's a big physical guy who can outrun you. So all of a sudden you're going to see him getting all that yak, on those crosses. So I think he would be a perfect fit here. And but the thing is I don't know if he would fall to number 20.
Yeah, and Perriman's really a guy that he's got a lot of question marks around where he's going to go in this draft, because he's really been all over the place. I mean, he started out later on, not in the first round, but he's kind of really skyrocketed into the first round here, and that was really a question of if he's going to end up going before the Eagles even get to make their pick. So. We'll see what happens there. I mean, when you look at, Perriman, he's the type of guy, he's 6'2", 212. So he's a bigger type of guy. And if you want to compare them to someone, Jalen Strong is very similar in stature. Strong is also, he's 6'2" and he's 217. So those are two guys who would be the bigger type of athletic guys that Chip Kelly really likes. And Aguilar is he's kind of on the smaller size. He's 6 foot 198. So Aguilar would kind of be more of a speedy type of guy.
Yeah. Aguilar is like the precise route runner. I mean, the way he comes out of his breaks, he is so smooth. And I've been on his dick. I've been riding it. I've been putting it in my mouth. I have been on the Aguilar train for a long time, and just now to see him, like, all of a sudden I see him being ranked 6th, 7th, 8th wide receiver. I'm like, fuck, because I got him ranked top 5, and I think he's that good. Oh man, he's something, man. I'm in love with the guy.
Yeah, I can't tell. Hopefully Chip Kelly is in love with him too, because he would be a good fit. But since Chip Kelly has really come here, now he's gotten rid of Deshaun Jackson. He didn't really. I mean, Macklin kind of walked away in free agency and went to the Chiefs. So, and then Chip Kelly has went out and he's drafted a guy like Jordan Matthews. So now this year it'll be interesting to see what type of wide receiver Chip Kelly goes after, because as we've seen this offseason, Chip Kelly is really starting to develop his own roster and get the guys in here that he wants. So obviously Jordan Matthews was a guy that he wanted. He went out, he traded up in the second round to get him. So this year we're going to see what he does at the wide receiver position and see what type of guy he goes after.
Yeah, and another thing that I think is going to happen, I don't think they're just going to draft one guy. I think they're going to draft two wideouts. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking at that too. So if they don't get Strong, Perriman, well, Aguilar, I think one of those three will be on the team. I think Aguilar in the second round. That's kind of the scenario I'm looking at. Now, the other guy I can totally see being on the Eagles next season because of Chip Kelly's infatuation with athleticism is Chris Conley from Georgia. I see him third or fourth round. If he's around, Eagles are going to take him. I can already see it right now.
Yeah, and another guy that could possibly be an Eagle is Philip Dorsett, Miami guy. So we'll see. He's another guy to keep an eye on. But like you're saying, this is definitely going to be a draft where the Eagles get a few wide receivers. It's pretty stacked, so we'll see what happens. But they'll definitely end up with at least two wideouts. So
Yeah, definitely look for that. All right. Another option that the Eagles might do because their need now for offensive line, and it's going to be interesting to see how this situation with Evan Mathis plays out because they're going to draft. Well, we know they're going to draft linemen. They might even draft a lineman in the first round, depending on if they can get a guy that can play guard now, and then you switch him over to tackle later when Jason Peters retires. You could do that. And the name that's being thrown around right now, because he's an Oregon guy, is Jake Fisher.
yeah, well, why not add another duck to the duck pond? I mean, whenever you look at the draft, you just gotta look at the Oregon guys, and they're definitely a strong possibility to join the Eagles roster. Jake Fisher, he's been a guy that's been thrown around here since Chip Kelly is a coach. Now, it'll be interesting to see, where Jake Fisher ends up. He's a guy that actually might get, drafted higher than where he should really end up. So he's a guy that might actually be drafted in the first round, but maybe should really be a second round draft pick. So, really, it would be nice if he would fall to the second round and the Eagles could, get him there in the second round because I think that the Eagles got to fill some other holes in the first round.
Yeah, I agree with that. Some other names that you can throw around. Lael Collins, LSU. He's another guy you can play guard, move out to tackle later on. That's kind of what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a guy that can be versatile. Now, for later on in the draft, I think they're going to get linemen, in like the middle rounds. That's kind of what I'm looking at. I'm looking at, go get some guards in the middle rounds. If you want to, you don't have to get a tackle this year because you have Jason Peters at least for another year or two. You could wait to get a tackle. So I would attack, my scenario that I would like Jones and a wide receiver your first 2 rounds. And then from there, you go attack the guards. And again, because of Chip's infatuation with athleticism, the guy that's, rising up the charts right now is Ali Marpet from Hobart. I mean, I think he's the only lineman to run a sub 5.40 at the combine. I can totally see Chip Kelly wanting to go that route with a guard, maybe even take 2 guards. So there's a lot of different options you can go to there.
Yeah, well, you talk about athletic, so obviously that guy is an option for Chip Kelly. But yeah, that's another thing that the Eagles could be doing. They could, start to stockpile that offensive line there in the middle rounds. Wouldn't be surprising if they end up taking 2 guys in the offensive line in this draft because they're going to need to, start getting some fresh blood along that offensive line for the future, especially since they're getting older. We don't know about Mathis and his future here in Philadelphia. Then also you talked about, Peters, he's getting up there in age, so eventually going to have to fill his role. So, yeah, look at, offensive line is it's not a desperate need at this point, but it's something in the future that we need to start stockpiling for.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's kind of my plan of attack. They're going to look for the Eagles to go like safety with Jones, two wideouts, two guards. Those are 5 picks right there. And then, your later rounds, you can kind of just take what the best available is. Maybe you want to get another pass rusher. Maybe you want to take, I don't know, maybe you want to get another safety. I don't know. Because the thing is, if they do take Jones and they do convert him to safety, I don't know if he's going to be ready to play right away because it might take some time because he is kind of like a raw athletic specimen. It might take some time to nurture him and coach him up to play that position, even though he did play it in college his first 2 years. So we might have to put those eggs in Earl Wolf's basket for the first couple weeks of the season.
Yeah, well, hopefully Earl Wolf has been rehabbing his knee in the off season. This guy just really hasn't been able to stay healthy ever since we drafted him. Kind of had the high expectations, hasn't lived up to them. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully, Earl Wolf could be a role model for, a guy like Byron Jones. But we need someone to step up at that safety position. We know we have Malcolm Jenkins, a solid veteran guy who can get the job done on his side. But ever since Brian Dawkins left, we talk about the same thing every year, how we need a safety. And, it's going to be impossible to, ever replace Brian Dawkins. But, geez, could we just, find someone, close to his ability? It's every year it's the same old thing. We don't have a safety.
No, we don't. It's terrible. It's a terrible, terrible thing. All right, here's how we're going to play this now. Let's say they do get Mariota. And now all of a sudden, it'll be interesting to see how they play that out because the second round, you wouldn't have a pick till 52. And say they do want like a good wide receiver, you probably just have to wait to get it because you're not going to give up more picks. Because if you're already giving away first-round pick this year, first-round pick next year, and, a later pick or whatever, in a trade scenario, you're not going to have the luxury of, trading up in the second round. Maybe you do, but you're probably most likely not. So that's when you're looking at, Philip Dorsett, like you said before. You got Devin Smith as another option. So, guys like that. Conley, we mentioned him before. They're probably going to stay away from Dorial Green-Beckham because of his off-the-field issues from Missouri, the ex-Missouri / Oklahoma wideout. So it'll be interesting to see how they attack the draft if they can get Mariota.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. That's if they get Mariota, that kind of will throw this everything that we've been talking about into a tailspin here because they would have to realign their whole draft approach here. But that's why the Eagles, that's their job. Chip Kelly, they've been preparing for the draft and they look at all the different possibilities and what can happen. So they've got their plan ready if they are able to get Mariota. But yeah, if that does happen and they do get Mariota, obviously they're not going to be able to end up with one of these top flight wide receivers that we've been talking about.
Yeah, because honestly, you're at 52. You're probably not going to get Devin Smith or Philip Dorsett or Beckham. You're probably looking at getting a guy like Rashad Green or something like a possession guy like that. That's probably what they're going to end up with. Say you probably get Rashad Green and then Chris Conley in the third round. I am like 100% sold that they're going to take Conley just because the athleticism thing.
Yeah, I think that you've have some inside information here.
There is another receiver that I like that he's not really being talked about and he's not rated high at all. His name's Justin Hardy from East Carolina. He can be like a 4th, 5th round pick. Maybe the Eagles go that route. I'm kind of high on him. But yeah, he's just another guy. Throwing another name out there.
Yeah, there's so many names with this wide receiver class. It's insane. That's why when we're saying the Eagles to get, 2 wide receivers, who knows? They would even get 3. There's so many wide receivers that there's no need to panic if the Eagles aren't picking a wide receiver here in, say, either the first or even maybe the second round. They'll get a guy somewhere, and obviously Chip Kelly feels like with his system, he can just plug guys in and get the job done.
Yeah, exactly. And the other guy that, we keep hearing about during this offseason has been Josh Huff and how he's improving. So, I'm not going to buy it until I see it. But, we'll he's another guy to watch out for next year, because he's a guy that's kind of being forgotten about a little bit.
Yeah, well, I personally think that Josh Huff is he's gonna be a guy to watch out for this season, because I think his play is really going to affect the offense, because I think that the Eagles are really relying on him to step up. They drafted him pretty high, and obviously they've seen something that we haven't yet. Now this guy, he's got the skill set, but he definitely had a problem with fumbling the ball and doing a lot of stupid mistakes during his rookie season. So with the Macklin gone, Huff really needs to step it up this year.
Yeah, he really does. You got to hang on to that football. That's the first thing, because he has shown flashes. The flashes are there. Just don't turn the ball over. Don't drop the ball.
Yeah, exactly. He's he's out there trying to prove himself this offseason. He's really working out hard and trying to fix the mistakes. The one thing I will say about Huff is that the thing that really hurt him this past season was getting injured. When he got injured in the preseason, that really set him back, and I think it kind of messed with his mindset, because when you're a rookie and you come into the league, if you immediately suffer a setback like that in the preseason, it can really, just mess with your mentality. And I think that's kind of what happened. Things got into his head. He was really pushing this year, and that caused the fumbles. So, I'm hoping that the guy does well. I like him, but hey, we won't know until this year.
Yeah. All right. Just some. I guess we could talk a little bit about cornerbacks now. Maybe you take one in the middle rounds. Maybe you don't, but I think they would. A guy that I'm looking at, I don't know if he would fall, like say the 4th or 5th round, but there's a guy that I like. His name's Charles Gaines from Louisville. Kind of high on him a little bit, and can't get it out. If you're looking for a deeper sleeper, I'm looking at Kevin White from TCU. I kind of like him a little bit too. Didn't really have a good combine, but when you watch him on tape, he's pretty good. So he would be like a 5th or 6th round guy.
Yeah, if you're looking at quarterback, obviously the Eagles have 5 quarterbacks on their roster right now. So you're probably looking at them. If they don't, obviously, if this is them not getting Mariota, you're looking at them, picking up a guy in the later rounds here, because that would mean that you have Bradford and Sanchez, and then either Barkley and Tebow there. So they really wouldn't need to specifically go after a quarterback in this year's draft.
I guess we'll talk about Tebow now. Have you bought the pretzel yet?
No, I haven't bought the pretzel, but you can get his jersey online already. The funny part is that if you go to the Eagles website and you click on the jersey section, he's the first guy there. It's a Tebow jersey, number 11. And the crazy part is Bradford, who is supposed to be our starting quarterback this year. You have to scroll down on the left-hand side, go to the player section to find a Bradford jersey. So, finding a Bradford jersey, it's kind of like a scavenger hunt. But, Tebow is right there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here with the Tebow jersey sales. I'm sure that some people will go out and get one. But it's kind of a risky move considering we don't know if he's actually going to make the team.
Well, I'll say this: he was signed to be the fourth quarterback, but come on, he's better than Barkley. They don't like Barkley. They tried to ship his ass out, and no team wanted him. So I think Tebow's here to stay. He's going to be our third quarterback next season. And this, if you watch one of my videos that I did the other day, I talked about him being, a halfback / tight end, kind of that James Casey role. I think he's going to see the field in some way or another, whatever facet it's going to be. I think he's going to get some snaps. He's not going to be quarterback, but he'll be on the field.
Well, I've come up with this theory that I think that the reason they brought Tebow in here is this is kind of all part of the sports science thing. So, these guys are going to get injured, and then they're going to go into the training room, and they're going to bring Tebow in, to say a prayer. And then, magically he's going to heal all their wounds. And, he's just going to be a key component to that sports science program. But, really, like you said, there is a chance that Tebow finds a field. He could be a guy that's out there for special teams. And, another thing that is something to keep an eye on is, the Eagles have had some trouble in their red zone. Now, maybe he's a guy that they look at to do something along the goal line.
Yeah, that's a good point. Even if you take some wildcat snaps, because the way he runs from the 2-yard line in, he gets in like every time, it seems like. So, that's another thing to look at there. Speaking of your prayer, as we speak, I've got inside sources that Chip and Tebow, they're in church right now. They're praying real hard. They're praying for Mariota, and hopefully he can land in Philadelphia. That's what they're praying for right now.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're definitely praying for that together. And Howie Roseman is not in church with them. Howie Roseman is, stuck in his jail cell miles away from Chip Kelly's office.
Oh boy!
Do you think they even let him into the draft room this year? Chip Kelly probably doesn't even anywhere close.
Yeah, Marcus Smith, my ass, Howie.
Jeez, yeah. Apparently, Marcus Smith was all Howie Roseman. So let's pray to God that we don't have to see another selection like that.
Chip, why do you want to take Jordan Matthews in the first round when you can have Marcus Smith?
I always said that last year's draft would have looked a lot different if they would have picked Jordan Matthews in the first round and Marcus Smith in the second round. Then people wouldn't be talking about the Marcus Smith pick so much. But since they took him in Marcus Smith in the first round, that's why it's been talked about. So. Yeah, if it was Roseman that did the Marcus Smith pick, then maybe it's a good thing that Roseman won't be involved in the draft selection.
Yeah. Stick to the salary cap, Howie. You're a good salary cap man. Stick to that.
Yeah, but really to kind of wrap up the whole drafting here, I think that this is really kind of. This is like Chip Kelly's debut, really, because the first 2 years here, he kind of was working with Andy Reid's guys, but now this is his show. He's made it clear this offseason that he's getting his guys in here, and he's got full control now of personnel. So this is his draft, and he's got to hit a home run. I mean, we can't be settling for like a single or a double. He's got to hit it out of the park.
Yeah. You don't settle for anything. You settle for everything.
There you go.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, you just said it. We pretty much going to wrap things up now. Talked about everything. Talked Mariota, some other guys that they might draft if they can't land Mariota. A lot of different options that they can go. So we broke it all down. And we did it live, and I think we did a fantastic job.
Yeah, we did a nice job. So we'll see how our predictions pan out here when the draft, takes place in Chicago this year. Going to be a little bit different there with a little, Chicago action.
Hey, who knows? We might be moving to Chicago. We got bought out by Stats Inc. We might be moving to Chicago, man.
Yeah, I think I'll be keeping my stuff here in Philadelphia.
I'm thinking about it, though. Chicago, get to watch the Bears every week. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, go to, renovated Wrigley Field, hang out with the construction workers in the bleachers.
Oh, man. Now, I was going to bring this up. See, unfortunately, I couldn't use this thing for this show. I don't know what happened with our, Google Plus. It wouldn't let me play. You couldn't hear me. So, unfortunately, my penis-shaped microphone will have to wait.
Yes, it's very large microphone that you purchased there. So I have to figure out the settings here on the Hangout. Maybe if people have some inside information, they can let us know.
Yeah, seriously. Because I came in second place in our little tournament, NCAA tournament pool at work. So I used the money to purchase this bad boy. And, it was funny because my dad saw this thing. And the first thing he asked is like, where's the vibrate button?
Oh, man. They definitely could have came up with a better design.
I mean, literally, like.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, we're just so mature on this show. We just love being mature all the time. We would not be Chip Kelly, guys.
No, not at all.
All right. So, yeah, it was nice to see you today. And, because work schedules haven't really panned out the last couple of weeks. But you know what? We're out of business in, end of June, early July. So we're going to be done. And I get to see you all the time. So unless, of course, I move to Chicago, you move to Chicago, maybe we move to Chicago. I don't know. Maybe that would be great. Fucking start doing shows in Chicago.
Chicago, having some nice pizza there in Chicago.
That is true. Yeah, and they make some mean. I think it's roast beef. They're known for their roast beef. The little. Is it roast beef?
You're the Chicago expert.
No, you're the food guy. You're the one that likes food, motherfucker.
Yeah, well, I'm not a big roast beef guy, so if that's it, then
I think they do something like an Italian roast beef where they drench the bread and stuff. I think that's what they're known for. I'm not 100% sure though. It's something that what's that place? Well, one of the cheesesteak places does that too. Tony Luke's, I believe, but that's pork though. But it's like the same concept, but it's roast beef.
Yeah, you're gonna have to check that out. I know that the pizza. I'm a big pizza guy, so that would work out for me.
Well, I'll let you know because I would consider moving to Chicago. I'm considering it. I think I'm going to do it, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you're a single guy. Why not?
Yeah, a bunch of babes in Chicago, let me tell you.
Yeah, nothing to lose.
Yeah, seriously. All right, so I'm going to put my microphone down now. Hopefully that bad boy will work because, it sucked it didn't work for this show because that's the whole premise of why I bought the damn thing.
Yeah, I mean, it works nicely when you do, a show by yourself. So we'll have to figure out how to get that set up for, next time. And, possibly we'll be talking about the NFL schedule that comes out tonight. And we're finally get to, figure out the times and the dates of the teams that the Eagles are going to be playing in 2015.
Yeah, actually, we can talk about that just real quickly to wrap it up because the rumor that you're hearing is that we might be playing Dallas on Sunday nights to open the season.
Wouldn't that be a joy? It would be quite the storylines there with, obviously, DeMarco Murray facing his former team, and also Miles Austin facing his former team. I don't know why this happened to me the other day, but I was on Twitter and I saw tweets from Miles Austin. I totally forgot that he was on our team. That signing, I completely forgot about that signing. It's kind of a weird feeling knowing that we have Murray and Miles Austin on our team.
Yeah, it's a very, very strange dynamic for sure. The other rumor I'm hearing is they might be playing the Patriots on Thursday night to open the season. Now that would be awesome. I would love that. I would love that.
Yeah, I have heard about that rumor too. So we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously the Eagles are going to get some primetime games because there's a lot of intrigue with Chip Kelly and that whole dynamic. So we'll see what they decide. But I think the opening game, it seems like the Eagles are going to be playing prime time.
Although the unfortunate thing about prime time is, I think we've talked about this before, is the agonizing wait of having to watch all the afternoon games and waiting for all of them to end, and then we finally get to the primetime special. That always sucks.
Yeah, no, exactly. The wait for the prime time is the worst, but obviously it's always a lot of fun being in the spotlight. So, yep, it'll be I would imagine the Eagles will be in the spotlight a lot this year, and yeah, we'll see what the schedule makers come up with, but it should be a fun one.
Yeah, but see, the good thing about playing that first Thursday night game, we won't have to wait for shit because we'll be leading things off.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, if the Eagles do end up playing the Patriots in that first Thursday night game, I mean, there would be no better way to start off the season than taking down the defending champions.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That would be amazing. All right, I think we're getting to final thoughts time. I've already said it before. We've covered every angle of this draft, what the Eagles might do, all that. So it is your time to shine. Final thoughts, baby.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought that Chip Kelly would have brought in Tim Tebow? Tim Tebow, member of the Philadelphia Eagles. I think it just it really just sums up Chip Kelly's off season here, and really Chip Kelly, he doesn't care what anyone else thinks. He doesn't care what we think. He's going to go out and he's going to do what he wants to do, and either this whole plan that he has is going to work out beautifully, or it's going to blow up in his face. So let's hope for the sake of us and the rest of the Eagles fans that this plan works out, because if it does work out, well, I think that we'll be celebrating for a long time.
Yeah, maybe even a little celebration down Broad Street.
We can only hope. We can only hope.
Well, we have Tim Tebow on our team now, so we can pray for it.
Yes, and he will be the spiritual leader.
All right, with that being said, we're going to end this thing now. We're going to end this little shindig. That's Mike Owens. I'm Adrian Fedke. Go Birds! And hopefully, we get Mariota. Later, guys.
See ya.